Hold up, I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sunset, it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do. We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Mommy Guide Inc.'s Conversations with Lala and my Vlogmas Day 8. We would love to engage with you. Also, don't forget to put the Q column before each question so we can easily see it. Just don't forget to be respectful at all times. Yes, our topic of discussion for today is something very relevant to most of us. Several of us in our community has started their own path as content creators. And doing interviews is going to be part and parcel of our journey as we bring in guests to work alongside us. And this can be nerve wracking, right? How do you prepare? What's the right question to ask? When and how do you ask them? These and many more questions are what we're going to ask from our esteemed guest today. All right. So, our guest is none other than Doc Rock. He considers himself a thinker, a creator, and a maker. And just like most of us, the world as he sees it is a place full of possibilities, and that only when we share our collective experiences, learn from our failures, and keep striving for a perfect way of being, can we all live our lives to the fullest extent possible. I love that he even quotes the late great Maya Angelou, who has said, "Do the best you can until you know better. That when you know better, do better." Yes, again, just like you and I, Doc Rock has had his share of failures and false starts. But through it all, he learned something new, picked himself up, and kept it moving. And now he is personally on a mission, and that is to positively touch 1 billion people's lives by collaborating and sharing stories and ideas. And that's why he is with us today as well. His work as a YouTuber, trainer, speaker, podcaster, moderator, and designer has helped put him on a path to achieve this mission. And recently, he has founded the Let's Get Live LGL community, which has helped provide a rapidly expanding platform for people to help one another learn and grow together. And may I say that I'm a proud member of that group. And as Doc Rock fondly says, our work is never done. So let's get live. Indeed, we are live. And live with us today, without further ado, let's all welcome, first time on Mommy Guide Inc., Doc Rock. Hi, Doc.
Hello, kumusta? How you doing?
Kamusta, Doc? Guys, see, he knows how to speak Tagalog, right? Maraming
Learning
maraming
Filipino.
salamat, Doc Rock, for being here with us this morning. It's actually afternoon for you, right?
Yes, yes. Well, just starting to turn evening, but yes.
Yes. Oh, so almost evening. All right. So, Doc, let's just say hi to everybody in the chat joining us right now. All right. We have Tina. Hello, everyone. And of course, my moderator daughter, Doc Super Floop. And Roy is with us, tech troublemaker. Merry Christmas, everyone. Indeed, Roy. Merry Christmas. And Tina is also saying hi to you, Doc. So is Jason.
Nice. Hi, everyone.
Yes, and we have Paul Duncan, the Mr. Moderator himself. Hey, Lala and Doc. Thank you, Sir Paul, for being here. Jam Alcantara Dublin, thank you so much. He was one of my guests last night. Thank you so much for being here this morning. And thank you for sharing, Sir Norman. Yes, and then everybody saying hi to everyone. So just like in all of our communities, right, Doc? Everybody likes to say hi to
That's the best part.
everyone.
That
And
is
Tina is
100% the best.
exactly saying kamusta and rated A for adobo. Thank you so
This is
much,
so
Tina.
good.
Yes, indeed.
So good.
Doc knows about our Filipino dish. So, Doc, where are you right now? So
In
people might be
Honolulu,
wondering.
Hawaii. That's
Yes,
that's why I know so much about your cultures because it's part of Hawaii culture. It's something that we get to do all the time. Like some of my favorite things is like I love lechon, right? Any chance I can get. I love a good ensamada or Spanish bread. All the above
Ensemada.
stuff.
Wow. Yes. So Doc is very well traveled as well. So he is open to a lot of he embraces a lot of cultures as well, right, Doc? Including
Yes.
us. So the first time I met Doc, it's like I was floored when he said, "Kamusta, Lala?" I was like, oh, he knows how to speak Filipino, and on top of that, he knows dishes. So it's like I was like talking to somebody. I could easily, I
I
relaxed
can
and
sing
was
dahil sa'yo.
oh my goodness, he can even sing dahil sa'yo. Right? Don't we love Doc Rock, right? So he really honestly loves a lot of things about our culture. So Doc, today, thank you so much first and foremost for coming in. Right? I know you're
You're
very busy,
welcome.
especially this time of the season because ECAM we have Vlogmas, right? So you are
Yes.
very busy indeed. Of course, and there's the regular schedules for all your channels and your group as well, right? Our community. And we will be talking more about that in a little bit. So, Doc, can you please give everybody, like for most of my community, they've probably this is the first time that they've seen and met you, right? So, just a short creative journey of how you came to be at where you are right now in your content creation journey.
Well, it's kind of funny. I started out getting into tech really as an attempt to be into music. And in the process of doing that, one of the things that we always had to do was like make flyers and, CD or tape covers or whatever. And yes, I said tape, young people. Music used to come in a little box with the tape inside. And then in the process of doing that stuff, I got into the computer because it was just easier to edit music or to edit graphics, for doing shows, doing concerts, whatever, for singing my local karaoke nights or whatever. And I found out that I really enjoyed that. And one of the things that happened during that time was I ended up working as an intern at a radio station. So we have a famous DJ here. His name is Lanai Tabura. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like his intern for a little bit. We became best of friends. And so I ended up getting into radio. So I guess when it became able to do these things on the computer, I was already halfway there because I had spent so much time in radio and working with Lanai. And so then I started doing like underground radio station, having fun playing around with that. When live streaming came out, it was just something that I started trying. And I think this is like circa 2008, 2009. When right when the pandemic hit, I was in recovery from knee surgery
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I'm going to go back in and do this live streaming thing because I'm going to be stuck in the house for 6 months. I had no idea it was going to turn into 2 years. I thought it was only just because of my surgery I was going to be in the house. In the middle of that, they're like, "No, you're not going anywhere." And I was like, "Rocco." so so funny. Oddly enough, I started doing streaming, but because of my experience as radio person, working in the
Mm-hmm.
film industry, like I knew most of the technical side, and so many people had questions. So many people were getting into eCam and having all these questions on how to do stuff, and I just knew how to do it, you know. And in the process of helping other people, I was like, that is the calling, is helping people share their stories, connect with other people who do similar things, because the world is big. And I think if you just live in your little bubble, you don't realize. And there's so many people being sad for nothing. I know everyone thinks like, oh, this is such a bad time. I think this is the best time ever, because at least when it was bad back in the day, you were stuck in your own culture.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can just explore any other culture, any other people, hang out with people from all over the world. Even if something, boring or bad is happening in my area, I can come down to my studio and talk to the planet. So, yeah, in the middle of the lava erupting in the Big Island, I can come talk to you and not worry.
Exactly. And imagine you are actually live here in the Philippines right now, right? Without
Right,
even
right.
be needing to be here, right? So again, so when something bad happens, so somehow on the flip side, something actually great comes out of it. So the same thing with me, Doc, right? So the best thing that so far has happened to me in terms of being able to do my live stream is meeting amazing people from all over the world, and actually finding affirmation that what we do actually means more than just going live, that we actually able to affect each other's lives in some way or form or shape, right?
Well, you imagine this, like so many parents are like, how do I find a way to connect with my kid? I was like, go to start live streaming and open a Discord server. Your kid knows all about that. You just don't know they do. And so you're smart
Exactly.
because you employ your daughter to help you, and that's something that you guys get to do together. And I think more and more people should look into that. Their kids know a lot of stuff, and you just got to give them a chance to shine and a chance to grow, right? So yeah, it's cool. And then one day, you know, um, she's gonna be asking you for like how to do certain things, like what are the cool recipes, and next thing you know, maybe she's sharing it. One of my best friends, a kid here
Hmm.
named Philip, he's a very good cooking channel. When
Wow.
he and I both come from the video and film industry here in Honolulu, right?
Hmm.
And Philip started making videos on just random cooking stuff that he was into. And when the pandemic hit, he had to spend a lot more time with his mom. So he asked his mom, he's half Filipino. He says, "Mom, can you teach me how to cook, like, dishes from home?" And so he really just started sharing with the internet, all these really cool Filipino dishes besides the basics. Everyone knows chicken adobo. Like, what else is out there? In the process of doing that, he grew his YouTube channel to like 80,000 people in a matter of like a year and a half, just from
Wow.
sharing, right? So like if I wanna if I wanted to learn how to make, marunggay pasta or something, I can just look
Malunggay
at Philip.
pasta. You've tasted malunggay pasta?
Oh, at least once a month.
Oh my
There's
goodness, I haven't
there's a
even
place
tried it.
here there's a place here that makes it, and they make it with lechon with the crispy skin. Oh my
Oh
god,
wow.
so good. It's so good.
But
Yeah,
careful on
but
the cholesterol on that one, Doc.
tell me about it. You can look these things up now. In the past,
Yes,
you wouldn't have been able to do that, right? So now
exactly.
you can look this up, or like, how can I do myriad things? And so he's sharing his mother's culture with the world through
Mm-hmm.
his ability to do it with the confidence of being a person on camera. You're sharing your live streaming journey with your daughter. You're taking away some of that stuff that, people don't even think about. Oh, now they're talking about pandesal. Okay, okay. I'm not listening to you, Tina.
Yes, Doc. Tina is amazing. She's an amazing crafty sister of mine also. I've
Right.
also encouraged her to actually start, actually she has a channel, but she never was, on it. And just this year I, encouraged her to do so. And she just got monetized a few months back. right?
All
So she's
right. Congrats.
amazing, amazing. She really crushed it, right? So, Doc, thank you so much. Actually, in my case, Doc, it was my daughter who encouraged me to do live streams. She was the very first content creator at 7. She started her channel and she did unboxing. But then at that
Wow.
time, remember, Doc, there wasn't much of a protection for kids. So
Right,
somehow
right,
she
right.
experienced bullying. So she stopped. But then after, during the pandemic as well, Doc, I chanced upon her channel again after like almost 9 years and saw that her videos got almost more than 500,000 views. And we weren't doing anything. And so I was encouraged. Okay, I think I would want to do this YouTube thing. So it was the opposite thing for us. So I got encouraged by my daughter doing YouTube like a decade ago. Right. So, and now my son also, Doc, is also doing YouTube as well. He has his own, what do you call this, gaming channel. Right. Yes.
So good. So
So
good.
going back to our topic, see, we're all over the place because the host is all over the place. All right, so okay, we go back. Your topic for today is actually about interviews, and as you've heard, Doc, he has been in the business of live streaming and content creation for quite a while, and not just about the tech. Right. So he also does live streams and he knows a lot of things and he has interviewed so many content creators. Probably he can no longer remember all of them because there's been so many, right? So he is actually one of the best people to actually help guide us. And if you have questions, again, just put your question and start it with a Q column so we can easily see it. Okay. So first and foremost, Doc, why do we need to master doing interviews? Can we just not go live and then interview somebody, on a whim? It's like, okay, let's go live. Okay, let's do this. Right? And let's just see where it takes
Yeah,
us.
you can. And as a matter of fact, maybe you should. But what happens, I think, with a lot of people when they do interviews is they're not learning how to get out the information from the person that their audience really wants to hear. They might
Mm-hmm.
be asking questions themselves, or they're just asking questions as they come to their head. But in a way, you want to ask questions that can provide some value to your audience, right? What can, like Tina and Nam and Shorts,
Mm-hmm.
what can they take away from this? Like Sammy's in the chat today. What can
Yes.
Sammy learn from today? So you want to do that giving value to your audience. So then the next time you have on a guest, your audience is like, oh my goodness, it's going to be a guest today. Let's go check this out, right? They really want to
Mm-hmm.
be there. They know they're going to get something out of it. The other thing that happens is you give the guest an opportunity to answer questions they don't normally get asked. Like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, pick someone, let's pick someone famous. I'll pick on Martin Nievera, right? Let's say I'm interviewing Martin. Martin, how did you get started singing? You already know that. Everyone in the freaking Philippines already knows how he got started.
Mm-hmm.
How many albums have you made? Everyone knows how many albums he made. What's your favorite show you've been on? Everybody knows it's the Christmas special. Like, you know these. Don't ask those questions. Martin has
Mm-hmm.
said those questions a couple million thousand times. Let's ask them something different, right? And let's
Mm-hmm.
find something deeper or engaging, or let them share a story they've been dying to tell and have never had an opportunity to share because nobody ever asked.
Wow. So actually that is something that is, thought provoking, right? So normally I'm also guilty of that one. So when there are things that it's basically out there already, that information is out there and everybody can just easily Google that. So let's try not to veer towards that and come up with something unique, right, in our
Right. Yeah. Right.
interviews. Right. And also
Right.
make our guests shine as well. So before we move on to the next question, Doc, let's just say check on the chat again. So Sammy's here to say great to see everyone. Miss Wims, also thank you for dropping by. Marilyn, hi Doc, and Richard, thank you so much for being here. And of course, Miss Nam. All right. So, and we have also several in the chat, so we'll go back to them. But the first question before we move on, Doc, is what do you do when your guests take over the show?
That's
Asking for
just
a
Roy.
friend, not him.
That's Roy causing trouble. Ignore Roy. Roy's just being the smart aleck. You're still
Yes.
fine. Actually, Roy, in a normal situation, that's fine. That's kind of the point, really. So, yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, I know Roy's just kidding, but even if he's
Yes.
not, that is actually fine. As long as you're providing something to your audience and your audience
Hmm.
is enjoying it, you're perfectly okay.
All right. So thank you about that, Doc. So moving on. So now that we know why it's important to actually master interviews, because it's gonna make your show, your interview, that episode really, a better video in terms of being able to give more information and knowledge both to the guest and to your audience. Now, how do you prepare now for an interview, Doc?
This is the a very, very good question. And I can kind of answer this question and answer Tina's question at the same time.
Okay.
So this is really funny. I tell my students that you want to prepare, but not too much. If you
Mm-hmm.
crush all of your curiosity ahead of time, you won't have the same thing. So, for instance, when you're having lunch with a friend and you haven't seen them in a while, right? So, for instance, in September, I got to hang out with Richard, who's in the chat, right? We were at a
Mm-hmm.
conference together. The next time I see Richard, right, we'll want to catch up, right? Other than what I see him doing online, I say, hey man, how's it going? Like, what's been going on with your process? Are you still using that ZV1? Things
Mm-hmm.
like that. We have to catch up on. If I went and scouted all that research first and I already knew the answers, I just took away my own curiosity. And without my curiosity, this interview
Mm-hmm.
is going to be horrible. So you want to prepare a little bit, like know the basic stuff. In other
Mm-hmm.
words, find the stuff that everybody's already asked them and just have it in your head so you know what to talk about. But you would ask a question like, okay, Lala, I saw on a recent interview that you were on that you really like to do this live streaming with Ecamm Live. Like, what was it about Ecamm Live that caught your attention? Right? And you'll be like, oh, wow, nobody's ever asked me that. People ask what I use, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
say, why do I use it? Right? And then you say, oh, because this guy Doc works there and he's cool. I'm joking. I'm joking. But and so doing that type of research and seeing like other shows that you've been on, shows that you talked on, or conferences you've been to, I have the basic question. I can form a bigger question with
Mm-hmm.
that basic information, right?
All right. So that's a great advice. So guys, prepare, but not too much. All right. So
Oh yeah, I
that's a
forgot Tina's
very
part of the
great.
question. Tina's
Yes.
part of the question is, I think it's okay to use those apps that give random questions,
Mm-hmm.
but only if you don't read it point blank. Like if you read it in a manner that allows you to again go deeper with the question. The app that you most people know is Pod Deck. I actually know Travis that invented Pod Decks and the Pod Deck apps. So I think it's brilliant for helping people get their start. As a matter of fact, I probably would recommend it to most people
Mm-hmm.
if you're not trained at this, right? If you haven't taken my class yet and you're trying to get in, yeah, Pod Decks might be absolutely fantastic, but just make sure you adjust the question a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. All right. So there, because sometimes the topics or the questions might not be very relevant to the person. So like, how does it relate to me? Right. So
Yeah,
that's the
how
danger
am I
about
going to
the
ask you about
random.
skiing when you live in the PI? What skiing are you doing in the PI? Unless it's water skiing, so I have to adjust the question to match where you are,
Correct.
right?
Because definitely there will, yeah, okay, absolutely. So you just have to like, so that's one thing I just want to share this, Doc, with you. That's very relevant, right? I had one of my guests earlier on when I was, probably just 3 months into live streaming, and we had our topic, Doc, was about skincare, right? So I was like reading everything in the chat and then asking the questions. So his first question was very relevant to the topic. So I even uploaded a question on the screen, and then his topic was so like, oh no, it's like rated something. I should not have placed it on the screen itself, but then I didn't scan like the questions. So it's like I actually, oh, and then the doctor said, I think he's talking about a different jelly. I said, okay. And then I moved on to the next one, right? So that was really inappropriate. So Doc was, that is, oh, about Doc, you would not imagine. Like I have tons and tons of blooper, trying to learn how to do things like interviews and
But,
stuff.
but it is a good question, right? I only found out recently how important it is for men to do this stuff, right? And I'm pretty sure that Karen, my other half, has been telling me for years, you got to wear sunscreen, you got to wear sunscreen, you got to wear sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to go see the doctor about this random thing that showed up on my nose, and
Uh-huh.
she was like, "Dude, wear sunscreen," and I was like, and she's like, "Yo, dummy, you have to wear it every day." And I'm like, "What? I didn't think I needed sunscreen. I'm black." And she's like, "No, you still gotta wear sunscreen." So hey, the more you learn, right? So appreciate that.
Exactly, right? So that's a very nice and great tip, right, Doc? So to actually, you can use apps if it helps you, right? So if it makes you feel that you can actually do your interviews, give you a little bit of ease when you do it. If you have that kind of, let's say, maybe you feel that you might not have enough questions, so do it, but do so with caution. So as Doc said,
Yeah.
make sure that you adapt it to also the situation and your guest, right? All
I
right.
have
Yes,
one
Doc.
thing I wanted to tell you, and I want you to remember this, and I know you're not going to, or you're going to try to pretend like you don't remember. So now I'm putting this on your daughter to remind you. In a situation where you feel, and this is for everyone in the room, right? In a
Mm-hmm.
situation when you feel nervous, all I want you to do is change that word, right? So, for instance, uh, to here in the US, if I need to go to the restroom, I say I have to go to the restroom or I have to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
In the Philippines, I'm going to go to the CR or the comfort room.
Very good.
Right?
Yes.
So we're just going to change the word. I want you
Mm-hmm.
to change nervous to excited. Oh, I'm so excited. You,
All right.
different connection in your brain to excitement versus nervous. They're the exact same thing. I mean, metrochemically, they're identical to your brain. The chemical that causes nervousness and the chemical that causes excitement are the same thing. Just like a CR and the restroom are the same thing. The only difference, we don't have tabo.
Absolutely. That's a golden advice, Doc. Because
What's
coming
the
in,
tabo?
okay, specifically for me, I was like full of nerves. I said, Doc, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous, right? So coming in. But as you know, Doc, just having him on the show, immediately I started to relax, right? So
See?
that's great, right? Because
There
when
you
you
go.
worry, at the end of the day, will worrying, give you a solution? No, right? But it gives you anxiety. So that's a great thing to change, okay, those negative words into a positive, like one, like nervousness, to excited. So now I'm
Excited.
saying I'm very excited, Doc. There you go. I'm not nervous. I'm
There we go.
very excited.
There you go. I love it.
Right? So, application. Oh, immediate application, guys. I'm super excited. There you go. All right. So next, Doc. Okay. So now that we have learned how to prepare, okay.
Yes.
So is there an overarching like best practice in terms of rules for like doing interviews, or will it depend on the kind of interview you're doing?
A plus. You just got an A plus. Okay. I hope everyone can wind this part back. When you're watching this later or you forget this part and you go in the replay, I want you to rewind this part back because Lala did the number one thing I teach. Ask the question and zip it. What you watch nervous hosts do is ask the question and start answering the question and re-ask the question and start answering the question again. Do not do that. The number one rule, ask the question and shut the rated R up. Don't say anything. And it's because what's funny is I see professionals on TV do this. They're like, "Oh, Lala, like it's really interesting. How did you start your channel? Did you just wake up one day and say, "Hey, I'm going to make a channel," or did you like sit down and think about this? And do you still get nervous? Like, yo, which one of those questions do you want me to answer? Number one, and you already answered it for me. Number two, so what can I say? So then the guest can only be like, yes, Then you're stuck. Then you're stuck. So yes, 100%. You did it. You did it absolutely correct. You get star.
Oh, thank you, Doc. I really try. I'm not always on point, just like everybody else, right? We're human, right? There will be good days, there will be bad days. So when you make a blooper, like Mommy Lala does all the time, or sometimes even
Me
Doc,
too.
right? He's not really
All the
perfect.
time. A
Yes,
hundred
right.
percent all the time. I like what Tina said. She said it's a multiple choice question. Like school, you need
Exactly.
a pencil and fill the circle.
Well, when all things fail, right? Okay, there you go. And then now we go to the, like, I know everybody is wanting to know more about this one. So if you can give us, Doc, like, five most common, I know there are a lot, okay, that we cannot
Oh
actually
my god.
answer in this, or tackle in this interview, but just like five most common do's and don'ts, okay, for doing interviews.
Oh, let's see. So that's actually a tough question, but hey, we're gonna make it work. The first one is like you said, well, like I said, I don't even know what I said, is remembering again not to, I mean, to prepare, but don't prepare too much. That's really one of the tops. And then I think the second one again is don't be afraid to like break the ice. They work. And what do I mean by break the ice? Just you can ask a really random, stupid question that has nothing to do with the Constantine in China. It's just a way to break the ice. It's a way
Mm-hmm.
to get them talking and sort of get past what the normal questions. Like people are always going to have really random things to say, right? And for instance, like I might ask you, what's the most like dangerous thing you've ever done and actually liked it? And you'll be like, wait, nobody ever asked me that. And it's like, yeah, but you just want to get the conversation flowing, right? So again, I kind of stated this before. Please try your hardest to avoid the cliche questions. Since we have a lot of women here because that's your audience, right? Isn't it dumb when you're dating and the guy asks you like, oh, what's your favorite color? Like, what does that matter? We didn't get that far yet. Like, you will figure it out. If you spend 5 seconds and pay attention, you'll figure it out within 3 or 4 days. You'll just see it, right? You'll see the clothes or maybe the car. You can tell by keychain, or you can tell by, you go out somewhere and they just keep picking up random things that are the same color. So, even in the dating world, like asking the same questions, like when people ask the same questions over and over again, like, oh, what's your sign? That's my sign. My sign is stop. Go away. And then I think this is a really, really big one. I kind of want to put this as number four.
Mm-hmm.
Do not ask too many questions on the backstage part. When we were setting up, right? Lala and I were saying hi, we were catching up, we're just making sure all the gear works, but didn't don't try to ask a bunch of questions ahead of time. What will happen is the guests will get into a story
Mm-hmm.
and they won't be able to repeat that story with the same level of energy. It won't have that same, sauce after, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
like we all know when you eat like banana lumpia, when you first pull it out the grease and your finger is hot, that's the best. The next
Banana
day
Q, we call it like banana Q.
it's good, but it's not like when it's hot, like hurt the fingers kind of hot, right?
Yes, yes.
And then I think the last one, and this is the most important, and somebody mentioned this in the chat. I think it might have been Tina or it might have been Nam. You want to be as genuinely curious as possible. Like, I think I'm lucky that I'm genuinely curious anyway. So it's easy for me. When I was a little kid, like my favorite question was why? Why? And until my mom would get sick of me. So I think that's really important. Just be genuinely curious. And so what that means is when the guest is giving the answer, you kind of got to actually listen. And I know
Mm-hmm.
when we get nervous and start wanting to touch all of our gear and double check our levels, sometimes you miss what they say. And that's an opening to allow them to go deeper. And that when you get it, you've listened to an interview
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in your life, you've listened to an interview where someone got a artist to go further than they've seen in any other interview. Maybe where, Katie Couric or Bob Costa, some of the greats, like they get the person to cry because they asked the
Mm-hmm.
question they've always wanted to tell and no one's ever asked. And so they didn't bother to tell because they were too nervous to say so. If you can score one of those, oh, you're a champ. That person will come back to you every time. Hey, we got to do this interview again. Oh, absolutely. I can't wait to come back. So if you come with the level of curiosity, you allow your people to go deeper.
Absolutely. And that listening part, right? Yes, that's very important. I've also learned that the hard way because sometimes as a host, you want to know, make sure everything is on point, right? So while your guest is talking, you're like trying to, what's next or what's the next question, what I'm gonna do next, like thinking. But that actually resonates when you're doing the interview. But again, start listening, as Doc said, right? And just having an outline or an overview, that
Yep.
is a great what do you call this, suggestion, right, Doc? And I think I'll put that into place. Not too much of a preparation, just an outline. Anyway, also especially if it's a live stream like this, people will be asking questions, and actually
Yes.
that's, I think, more important than your prepared questions is what the people really actually wanna
You you
ask.
kind of, you kind of made me remember something just now. You
Mm-hmm.
know, everybody in the eCam community wanted us to come out with the preview feature, right? So that you can work on stuff while
Mm-hmm.
you have the guests on the screen. So, for instance, you can have me up right now.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who are new to eCam, maybe you don't know this, Lala can open a thing called preview mode, and in the preview mode, go to change the slider at the bottom, go
Mm-hmm.
to make an adjustment to my name or something like that. And there, especially if there's a mistake, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
this thing where like, oh, I'm going to add his Twitter to the name. Unless you're highly skilled to you can listen and do that at the same time, you're going to miss the part where the guest says something that's basically asking for you to ask them deeper questions so they can finally let this out, and you don't know it because you're busy like adjusting the logo or doing something and you hope nobody notices. So I was like, you know what? Never mind the preview mode. If you made a mistake, it's a mistake. Just leave it. Tell the audience the
Mm-hmm.
right answer, and nobody will care. Every once in a while, you get some ding dong that comes in. It's like, hey, your light is this color, or your letters are wrong, or whatever. And I'm like, so are you getting any good information out of this? I hope so, because that's more important than the fact that you wrote DOCRCOK. Like it does. Don't check. You did it. I was just using an
I was
example.
like, okay. Let's check. Oh.
we almost
Right.
we almost broke Mommy Lala, guys.
But then again, no, I'm excited. I'm never gonna go
Exactly.
to that N word again.
Yes.
Right? Learning
Yes.
from that.
That's the
Ex-
other N word you can't use.
yes, exactly. So that's very true, right, Doc? So some, unless you are, there's so many actually tech advice, like with Ecamm, the one I use and I love using. I know I am not even using, like, maybe I'm just using the tip of the iceberg of this awesome live streaming platform. I know there's so many, but for me, for what I need, and what I need for my show, this is enough for me right now. I don't want to use all of the functionalities. I know there is,
Simple,
right?
right?
Yes. So it's okay. So don't worry if you don't have all the tech in the world. It's okay. More important is content, as Doc said, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so Doc, I know this is just an icing, or I mean the tip of the iceberg for how to actually become a better interviewer, or not just that, how to be a good live streamer at that one, right? So I know that you have, okay, a new course coming up in January, and maybe you want to tell them about this one. All right, this
Yes.
one.
Yes. I'm doing a mastering interview course. We'll go deeper into some of the stuff we talked about today. There's going to be ability to practice and learn how to hone your questions and get those things out of the way. Learn how to properly set up. One of the things that Mommy Lala does, if you're lucky enough to be a guest on the show, her guest request form is beautiful, and it's actually a good example. I'm probably going to steal a little bit of it for my course because I like it better than the way I do it now. And you'll learn how to even get yourself as a guest on shows, like how to reach out to shows so that you can be a guest, which is going to get more people to grow your audience, which is also very important. So, like, if I wanted to be a guest on a Tech Troublemaker show, I want to send him a letter and be like, hey, dear sir, like I know it's Roy, but if I didn't, I can be like, dear sir, I love your show, blah, blah, blah. I may have something that might be of value to your audience. This is what I do, and not like any kind of expert or anything like that, but I really love sharing this with people because I think I can help people feel more comfortable. So if that's something you're interested in, please contact me. You get it right back. If you send them a thing, it's like, hey, let me be on your show, I'm an expert, I throw them in the trash. And I get 20 of those every day at my email address, and I throw those in the trash. 100%. But when somebody comes in a little humble, a little kind, and they have a good something that I know that my audience will like, oh, in a heartbeat, I'll call them right back. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's a golden advice again. So again, that one, guys. So this course is going to be this January. And if you want or interested in joining us, I'm actually part of that course. I actually got the early bird rate. So I was
Right.
on Doc's live that time. It's about 4 in the morning for us, guys. So when he announced it, right. So and then because I have notifications, right? So I said, "Oh, okay, Doc Rock's live," and he mentioned about that class. Okay, the minute I woke up the next day, I it said the early bird is like 10, right? Only the first 10 people, right, Doc?
Yes,
Yes, the
you
first ten
did.
people. Oh, crazy, crazy rate. Why will I not get it? Right? I was like, no, I'm gonna get this. So I was one of those 10 people was able to get that amazing rate. Okay, but at any rate, though, no matter, that is still going to be a very great course, right? So
I think
again,
so. And okay, so it's going to be 7, 14, 21, 28. It's kind of
okay,
easy because it's January 7, 14, 21, 28.
21,
I
28.
almost guarantee that we're going to end up doing one the week after in February because everyone's going to be too busy having fun. And you know me, like if everyone's having fun, I'll add an extra week.
Oh,
I
that's
just
so nice.
tell by the audience so far, the people who are coming to class, I can tell that we'll probably end up going an extra week. But I really wanted to do the first live class with a bunch of people I know that would get heavy value out of this, right? One of
Wow.
the things that you've always impressed on everybody in the ecom community and why everybody just loves you so much is you are willing to just try. So many people are worried about embarrassing themselves or doing whatever they won't try. Even if you feel ashamed or a little worried, you'll still try because there's no way to figure it out without turning the thing on. Like it's impossible. You can't
Mm-hmm.
learn to cook from reading a cookbook. You got to crack some eggs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I when I saw that you signed up, I knew that I was picking the right first bunch of audience because I know that the people that are in there are like you, like Paul. Paul's in there, I know that they'll get a real kick out of it and they'll learn a lot. So
Thank you
you
so
guys are
much,
the
Doc.
most
Guys, a
famous crew.
bonus week coming up for us. So better head on to that. If you want to join us, okay, this is how you go to https colon double slash www.createbetterlife createbetter.life, okay, and at the bottom part that is where you can register and everything, just follow the prompts and that leads you to be part of the course, and I hope to see you there back in January. All right. So, Doc, again, this has been an amazing time, but we're not letting you go just yet,
Okay,
because we
so
have
far, so
several
far you're doing
questions.
good. I might have to give you your refund. You'll have to come. You're doing really good.
Oh,
You're
thank
quite
you, Doc.
once you get past the excitement, then you're good at this.
Thank you, Doc. So, Wims actually has a question for you. So, what if the
Okay.
guest is nervous? So, it's the other way around. Okay, because for our part today, okay, it was me who was had the end, but now excited. Okay, so how do you make your guest comfortable?
I like to remind them that most of the people in the audience are all my friends and they're going to treat you the same as me. I tell them that I have really good moderators like Paul and Keely, Louise, India.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody comes in and start asking stupid questions or bad questions or something that's not nice, Paul and them would just kick them out. I think Paul kicks people out while they're typing the bad question before they can press go. He's so fast. So it's like he's reading their mind. So yes, Paul and Keely and those guys are really good. And I just let them know like our audience is family, and you're like coming to a family dinner. We're just going to put all the food in the middle of the table, stand up and just eat, you know and and it's like imagine we are at Starbucks having coffee, or we're throwing back a couple of San Miguel's. It's just friends and family. Don't, sort of relax. I also give them my story about excitement and nervousness because, well, it's true. It's 100% factual. So they really don't have any reason to be nervous. And most cases, they say what you said. We started out, I was really nervous, but I kind of relaxed. And yeah, I'm okay with this. This is great. And most people say, oh my God, your audience is amazing because, I teach, what I think it is? I teach the aloha spirit that I was taught, right? I just let it out.
Mm-hmm.
And the aloha spirit is very, very deep here. And I try to make sure that it maintains when I share it with other people. So you notice I answer everything with aloha and mahalo and things like that because
Mm-hmm.
I think that alone makes it more comfortable.
Okay. Word comfortable. Right? So hold on. Miss Wims. Okay, Miss Wims is actually also a content creator. She's an artist, doc. Right? But I don't think she has done interviews yet. Hopefully in the future, Miss Wims, I hope you can join us in the course in January. All right. So I will continue to put the links in all my succeeding shows after this. So if you are interested, it's all the links are actually in the description of this video after. Again, Doc, thank you so much for being here today. It has been super awesome. Thank you to everybody in the chat, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day or night or afternoon wherever you are in the world. Again, thank you so much, Doc. You want to say just few last words before we actually
Yeah,
say bye bye?
I was having fun chatting with Tina. It's hilarious. She's like, "Oh, is it a San Miguel Pilsner or a San Miguel Light?" And honestly, I hate beer. It's neither of the above. But it's a good analogy that people can understand. And Lim Well just showed up. What's up, Lim? Oh my goodness.
Hello. Oh yes,
This is
actually. Okay, so
yeah.
how can we stop when everybody's and Janet also from Animal Paradise Communication and
Oh my
Healing, my dear
goodness.
friend. Hi there, Janet. Yes.
Can
Okay,
I
but
tell you a quick story, Lala? Lemuel, right? My little brother over there was one of the
mhm,
reasons I got into formally coaching and having, my class and things like that. We
mhm,
were in a conversation once, and Lemuel's a pastor, and he was just like, "Hey, Kuya, you can't just keep doing this without, making a way for you to continue to succeed." And then I was
that's
like,
great.
"What do you mean?" And he just sat me down and was like, if I were a lemon tree and I only let the seeds, fall in the ground and it didn't regrow new trees, eventually you would be out of fruit. It's a funny joke because his name's Lemuel and I call him Lim Drops, like lemon drop. So it was a good explanation. And so what you're doing, what I'm doing, people who are doing these trainings and these courses or whatever, we're actually like giving those fruits to birds that then they let the seeds come back to the ground and then that
Mhm,
grows new trees. So it made me remember my mission, which is to help positively impact the lives of a billion people. I couldn't do that if I couldn't find a way to teach you, because now you're taking my style of teaching, my stuff I'm sharing, and you're using it to touch your audience. So you're taking a little bit of the law spirit, taking it to the PI, putting little Maggies on it, and then letting it back out, right? And then
wow,
now your
amazing.
audience gets it, right? And so, it's kind of a cool way to share the the power and to share the spirit or whatever through everybody what they're doing. And so it's funny that Lim showed up now because if anything anybody can take away, you're doing interviews, bringing in guests, and sharing with the world is giving the people who watch you an opportunity to hear your story as well as the guest story. Combine those together, and maybe it touches them and helps them tell their story. So you're just making it easier for them to share those lemon seeds, if you will.
Wow, amazing. What an amazing last message for us from Doc, right? So it makes more it makes it easier to actually understand why actually doing interviews is great, right? So it's not just, you impacting yourself, but in the process you're also impacting others. And I also like that about, the becoming a tree. It reminded me, Doc, of mustard seed. You know how
Yeah,
small a mustard seed is? Very, very
yeah,
small,
very
right?
small.
But have you seen how big a mustard tree is eventually when it grows?
Oh yes, I never thought about it like that.
Super, right? So we all start with the like a mustard seed, right, of faith, right, or of training. But then if we continue on, eventually you'll become that great, mustard seed of a tree, right? So so starting up with a course, if you're going to do interviews in the future, I highly recommend this course, and I hope to see you there, guys. And actually, Janet is actually going to be in there. She said,
Yes.
can't wait for the course in January. Hi, classmate. There you go.
Hey, you guys, I'm not gonna let you sit next to each other. No cheating off homework and no chewing gum in class.
Yes,
It was
thank you.
like it was like the sisters at school, right? The sisters used to come in and they're like, everybody sit up straight, and they would hit the knuckles with the little stick,
Correct. It's
and
a
they would
good thing it's online, Doc. So we can still
it's
find a
gonna
way
be
to,
just like Catholic school again.
right? So it's like private message, Janet.
It's
Just
like,
kidding,
oh
Doc.
my
We're going to definitely be, very excited about doing the class. And Dr. Elo, Dr. Elo, hi, everybody. Yes, he's saying hi to everyone. Okay, again, guys, we really need to go. We are so grateful for you to have been here this morning, this afternoon, good evening. And with that, we want to say thank you and see you again. Don't forget, Vlogmas Day number 9 tomorrow for me. And don't forget to
Mom
check
and
out,
Pasco,
yes, Doc Rock's channels and all of his socials there. Scrolling. If you missed that, you can actually look at all of those in the description down below. Bye! All right. Oops. Again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. We'll see you again tomorrow for another Vlogmas Day 9. Bye!